used every dollar he'd made to pay his rent the day before he'd been arrested. The paycheck prior to that went to an anniversary gift for the guy who'd betrayed him. "No, ma'am, but I didn't have any when I arrived. Everything is here." He caught a brief glimpse of pity in her gaze before she slammed the shutters down again. Woodley slid a waiver through the opening and showed where he should initial and sign. "Good luck out there," she said as he scribbled his name. "Thank you." He slid the form back to her and returned his meager belongings to the envelope. "He'll be back," Carson said. "Guys like him don't know any other way." The guard's comment raked his nerves. Carson didn't know jack about him, but Kieran kept his mouth shut. He had one more security door to go through, and he'd be free. A loud mechanical buzz echoed through the corridor as Officer Woodley assessed him through narrowed eyes. "I don't know. I think this one could be different." Kieran stepped through the doorway, expecting Carson to remain behind it, but the hulking guard followed him out instead. The door shut behind them, and the automatic lock engaged with a whir and a clank. Kieran knew he'd hear that sound in his nightmares for years to come. "I hope you prove me wrong, Sullivan. Maybe you'll find love after lockup," he said, referring to the popular reality show the inmates liked to watch. Even Kieran had gotten sucked into it more often than he wanted to admit, but he wasn't looking for love. Just revenge. Arching a brow, Kieran studied the guard. Either his bullshit meter had broken, or Carson meant it. Kieran struggled with genuine interactions at the best of times, and his current circumstance definitely didn't fall into that category. His uncertain future was more like staring down the barrel of a gun, not knowing if it was loaded. Emotional Russian roulette. Sarcasm was an old friend, his only friend now, and he hid behind its shield. "Of all the guards, I disliked you the least," Kieran called over his shoulder. Carson snorted. "Damn straight. Who else would you prefer? Briggs? Dimbley?" An image of the guards nicknamed Tweedledee and Tweedledum sprang to mind. "Not in this lifetime." When Kieran reached the door, he lifted his hands to push it open, but froze. His chest tightened with trapped air, just like it had when the jury had read its verdict. He took a deep breath to ease the pressure and willed the rising panic away. Kieran was beyond the point of nothing to lose. "Yo, Sullivan," Carson called out. "You got a ride?" Grateful for the distraction, Kieran said, "My chauffeur will be waiting." He pushed the door open and stepped out into an overcast March day, wearing the clothes he'd had on when he'd gotten arrested nearly 2 years prior. It had been a hot summer evening then, and he'd worn cargo shorts, a faded tee, and a pair of flip-flops. Since he didn't have a single person in his corner, he'd remained incarcerated after the arrest and throughout the trial. He'd transitioned from the striped scrubs at the local jail to the bright orange ones at Arrowhead. Wearing his own clothes felt damn good, even if they were too big and provided little protection against the damp, chilly air. Thick gray clouds hovered overhead, rolling like the anger churning inside him. For the past year, he'd expressed his eagerness to put the past behind him and start fresh. That's what the prison counselors and the people with power over him wanted to hear, so that was the bullshit he fed them. But privately, Kieran tended to his bitterness like a stew on the stove. He knew when to adjust the heat and which ingredients to add to the pot to keep his resentment sharp. And the fucking drab sky and the clouds only antagonized him more. For 20 months, his entire existence had been gray. The floors and walls, the food, and the pallor of the inmate's skin. The only break in the monotony were the prison scrubs. He would happily go the rest of his life without seeing the color orange again. Kieran had foolishly allowed himself to daydream about the vibrancy he